Serving community. Talkradio.nyc.
Philanthropy. Phocus, your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you. Lots of coffee, lots of caffeine going. Just got a fresh cup. I am so excited. Listen, what do the Ramones, Lou Reed, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper, Twisted Sister, the Shangri-Las, Gene Simmons from Kiss. What do they all have in common? Strong Island, baby. Long Island. Now, geographically, Long Island consists of Nassau and Suffolk County, Brooklyn and Queens counties, right? Part of New York City. Geographically, though, that is Long Island. So people might say, wait a minute, Tommy, those folks might be from Brooklyn or those folks might be from Queens. We will get there. Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. Judi, what is going on? Judi Latch Veeck, my new friend, executive director of the organization. Hello.
Hello.
What is up? I saw you yesterday. I saw you last night.
I know. I tell you.
Us nonprofits,
just a few hours ago.
Right? We hang around together, man. There's a lot
That's
of
right.
things going on. Really. Yeah. I mean, some of those names I'm dropping, we're going to get into, but Count Basie, right? I mean, Pat Benatar, my guy, Tony Bennett. I went and saw Tony Bennett in California at a place called Pala, which is like a casino in between LA and San Diego, somewhere out in space. And I saw Tony Bennett back when, God, like 2005, 2006. So it's just incredible. So, gang, this is not a local show today. It just so happens all of these people hail from Long Island, and they are big megastars. And I think Long Island's biggest megastar son, right, is a guy from Oyster Bay, right? Shout out to Billy Joel. I mean, there's a big exhibit at the museum. So we're going to talk about that. That's part of the show. That's what we're going to get into. But what do we do on this show? We do this. I bring on a leader of a nonprofit organization. I help that organization tell their story and amplify their message. Not because I'm such a great storyteller, although I think I am. But that's not the reason. It's because I want to ask curious questions, because I want you all to find out about the organization. Before we get into that, a couple things. First thing is this. They say, like, to that little boy, you know, be careful what you wish for, because you might get everything you want. So let me shout this out to you. After Judi and I do this show today, I'm recording 2 shows of Long Island Changemakers at North Shore TV out here on Long Island, followed by 2 episodes of hashtag ending the stigma together, because we must, capital MUST, normalize the conversation around mental health and mental illness. We must be compassionate. We must show love. So that's 5 shows in one day, Judi. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. I'm riled up right now. Talk to me 5:30 this afternoon. We'll see how I'm feeling then. Got to take my sweatshirt off really quick so I could show you all the back of my sweatshirt. So
love it.
I cannot hook up and hang out one of my nonprofits and not get some gear. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So the back of the sweatshirt, for those of you watching the video, right there, Long Island rocks. Long Island rocks, baby. And I mean, this organization's been around for 20 some odd years, right?
20 years, yeah.
20 years. I have the website pulled up because I keep looking at all of these faces on the website of all these people. The Lovin' Spoonful, who knew? Mariah Carey, right? I mean, I had to look up Mariah Carey because I didn't even realize she's from Huntington.
Right.
I didn't even know this stuff. And again, I've lived here my whole life, you know. I don't know if did I tell you the story? I'll tell you a quick story, and then we'll get into the show. LL Cool J was at Benihana in Manhasset like 15 years ago one night. We're there for my buddy Chris's birthday, and there's like 10 of us, and LL and I guess his family are in the other corner. And my buddy Nicky Buglione, shout out to Nicky Buglione. Nicky Buglione walked over and said, Mr. Cool J, we're big fans. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. And it was, he didn't even call him LL. He was very formal, Nikki, that night. He said, Mr. Cool J. So, it's just, it's incredible when you think of it, such a wealth of entertainers that came from this geography. So
Absolutely.
I promise we're going to get into all that. We're going to hear about the museum. And what I will say is the reason why Judi and I met is because the organization is a semifinalist in the Long Island Imagine Awards, 2025 Long Island Imagine Awards. So when you're Tommy D, it all sort of rolls back to the Imagine Awards and things like that. So let's get into this, Judi. I always say I want to know how my guest found their way to the nonprofit sector. I ask that because I'm curious. I ask that because I think it's a great way to tell stories. And I also ask it because people might not realize how many opportunities there are in the nonprofit sector to do work and to have a profession. You don't have to be in development, right? Or you don't have to be in social services. There's so many options and so many ways you can get involved in the nonprofit sector. So for me, it's always curious for me, or I'm always curious. I'm a very curious man, Judi.
There you go.
Take us
Well,
down that path, please.
sure. Well, I went to college. My major was communications, so I was heading for the PR world. And my first job was for a chiropractor and kind of in sales. I was the person calling you at 7 o'clock asking if you were in pain and on a scale of 1 to 10. So, and then I actually fell into a job at Brookhaven Hospital, which is now Long Island Community Hospital, in the PR department.
Mhm.
And I was there for about 10 years doing PR and development. And it was really there that I realized I had a love for the fundraising, for the development, basically because of the connection to people, working with the volunteers, the board members, and then, being a nonprofit, everybody has a beautiful story of why they support that nonprofit. And so I stayed in nonprofit after that. From the hospital, I went to Cornell Cooperative Extension and spent 20 years. So my career over 30 years has been in nonprofit.
I love that. I mean, last night we were at the AFPLI event for the
Mhm.
Association of Fundraising Professionals, Long Island. Again, it's not a hyper local show, gang, but this kid's from Long Island. It is what it is. Sometimes we're just going to be focused on where we're at. I mean, this show goes internationally. I'm sure it goes to other stratospheres. It might go to other universes. So I don't know how all you Martians are listening to me, but hey, hello, I'm Tommy D. Some people think I'm an alien, to be honest with you, Judi. Sometimes I'm not sure. So, so it's interesting because we're hanging out with a bunch of fundraisers last night, and we saw some friends of ours getting awards and getting recognition
Yes.
from AFPLI for the great work they're doing. And I just made a post on LinkedIn earlier today because the gang from Jovia had invited us. We were sitting at the same table together, Jodi Financial Credit Union, and
Yes.
they good friends, Ray Schwetz, Joe Prinzo, and Peter Papora had invited us out. And actually, Ray Schwetz is coming on Long Island Changemakers this afternoon. So all worlds just kind of collide
Oh,
in my life.
yes.
So it never stops. Um, PR and fundraising, right? Development. We talked a lot about development. Catherine Fritz was here last week from Long Island Cares, and development is sales. Development is relationship building, right? Development is connections and storytelling.
Yes.
So from Brookhaven Hospital, the Cornell Extension, we're going to get into all that. Tell me what that looks like from your lens, like through your lens. Like plenty of people who might say, "Oh, but I'm not a fundraiser." Well, can you tell stories? Can you engage people?
Yeah, you're so right. It's storytelling, and I really think most importantly, it's relationship building because you think of who you support and there's a trust. You support, it's peer to peer. It's knowing somebody, knowing that your time, your resources are going someplace that you trust, that going for good. We all want our activities, whether it's money or our time, to go to something good. And building those relationships is just key to that. And that's why fundraising is more than just the numbers and doing the event. It's having those relationships and it's being interested. It's being interested in why a volunteer is choosing your organization to spend their time or to give their money. There's a story behind that.
Yeah. Listen, gang, at the end of the day, you got average 85, 90 years on this run on this planet, right? I mean, I've been tempting fate because I say I still got 50 years left, which I've been saying 4 years. So I guess I just keep getting healthier and healthier and healthier every single day. But the reality of it is you have this limited amount of time. And I've seen some of these memes where like this guy draws these circles for every month in your lifetime and like shows like how limited our life really is. And I bring that up just to speak about a term I learned in college, which is like really, to be honest, not to be self-deprecating, but it's like one of the only things that really stuck with me from studying finance in college was opportunity cost. And opportunity cost as far as I have $10,000 to invest. And if I invest it over here, what is the cost of all the other opportunities that I'm giving up on? I like to view opportunity cost from a perspective of our number one and limited resource that is moving like this, literally second by second, our time and our focus, and where do we put that? So when you talk about trust and relationships, I think about being intentional and saying like, what are they interested in is so critical to what you say. So from the perspective of like engaging with board members, engaging with donors, why are you involved with this? Like there was these two women last night, right? Not why are you, Judi, but why are you involved? There was these two women who told this story about a family foundation. They were one of the award recipients, and I apologize, I don't have the name, but I can get it. They talked about their grandparents,
Yes.
built this foundation and wanted to build this legacy. And their mom, I believe it was their mom, they lost their mom to cancer, right? And these were, relatively speaking, young women. I think they lost their mom like 25 years ago, if I remember the math, maybe more than that. There's a commitment, there's a reason, there's heart in these things. So talk about some of that if you could.
It's funny you mentioned them because one of the young ladies said such a powerful quote. She said, "If you can give, you should." And that's so true. And it's not just money. It's like we said, your time, your efforts, your storytelling, spreading the word for organizations. If you know an organization that is doing good, spread the word, help them.
Yeah.
And I love that when she said that because it was right on.
It's so true, right? Time, treasure, talent, gang.
Yeah.
You can always be a part of this. And let's be honest, I try to keep this show pretty much evergreen, but let me be real. It's January 31st, 2025. It has been a challenging week for the nonprofit sector, period, right? It has been. Federal funds, we were told on Tuesday were going to be gone. And by 5 o'clock, you weren't going to be able to access all these monies, which, if you're not aware of this, Google federal funds nonprofit, January 2025. It was scary, and it had been scary. And as yesterday morning, I was at Long Island Business News's State of the Nonprofit Sector. Who knew when they booked that, because they didn't book it earlier this week, that event had been booked months in advance. Who knew how critically important it was going to be to address the state of the nonprofit sector? So I started my morning there and finished my evening with AFPLI. If I didn't know any better, I would think I was the nonprofit sector connector.
I would think so.
Funny thing, Joe Prinzo, my buddy from Jovia, had given me like a name tag, and I hate to wear name tags because I want to look in somebody's face. I don't want them to look at my, name tag. So I hide them and put them away in my pocket. But I looked at it this morning because I never even put it on. It was like on a string. Remember last night they had it?
Yes.
So I found it in my pocket and I looked at it, and it said Tommy DeMisa hashtag the nonprofit sector connector. And I don't even think I set that up. So I guess it's happening. It's all
happening.
And it's all happening. So it's critically important that we realize that nonprofits need help, need support. And I came up with a new hashtag nonprofit strong. That's what we got to be, man. We got to be strong as a sector.
Love it.
Nonprofit is the grassroots organization on the corner that has a $4,500 budget. And it is the health system that has I don't know how many $billion budget, right? That's the sector. It's very disparate, very different opportunities there. However, all doing important work, and that's what we do to feature them on the show. So, Judi, I want to go back. We're going to take a break in a second here. When we come back, I want to get into kind of your journey a little bit. Tell me, so you start. Let's talk a little bit about the work you did at the hospital. Let's talk about Cornell and what that was all about. And as we promised, we're going to be talking about, actually, the funny story too is I was talking to somebody like the day I was coming out or the day before I was coming out to see you, and I just looked down at your website, which I'll share in a second, everybody, which is Long Island Music Hall of Fame.org. Debbie Gibson, my first ever concert, Radio City Music Hall, 1985, I believe it was, but because I've Googled this before, I was born in 78. I was like 6 or 7 years old. My Uncle Buddy got 4 tickets, like randomly, from my two cousins, my cousin Mickey, my cousin Vinny, and I. We went to see Debbie Gibson. She is from Long Island. So
Yes.
I was joking around with a friend of mine who was coming on another project we're working on. And I was like, oh my God, Debbie Gibson. She goes, you were probably a big Debbie Gibson fan, Tommy. And I was like, you have no idea. That was the first concert I ever went to. So shout out to Debbie Gibson. If you hear me, Debbie Gibson. And shout out to Paula Abdul too, because that was what I listened to when I was a kid. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. We come back. We're going to hear more of your story. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Join Tommy in his attic. I think if we're doing the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, you all get to listen to me sing. So let's just sing a song today. All right, I'll stop. I'm not going to get inducted into this particular Hall of Fame, but I am sharing the website right now showing all the inductees. I mean, this goes back, it's not only performers, but it's also executives and folks in the music profession, right?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. We're going to get into all that later on. I keep asking these questions and then I'm like, but hold on, not yet, Judi. So tell me, Judi, tell me about your things you've walked around in business wise in this sector, the things you've done. Like, give us a day in the life or a month in the life.
Sure. Like I said, when I was at the hospital, I was in the PR. I then was at Cornell Cooperative Extension for 20 years. And that's an educational agency doing informal education. So I did the PR and the development. So did the events, started their fundraising activities. And so it was there really that I got to build relationships with board members, with the volunteers, and realized, through the years how important those relationships were to me personally and professionally and to the organizations.
Yeah. Tell me about the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Tell us what that was.
Sure. That is a Cornell Cooperative Extension in every county, and I worked in Suffolk County. And they do programs with 4-H, agriculture, marine. So it's informal education through Cornell University.
I love that.
So I work to publicize that and to do their nonprofit. So to do events to fundraise for those programs.
I pulled up the website, everybody. It's actually, maybe I should just show everybody, but it's cals.cornell.edu/Cornell-cooperative-extension, or just Google it. That's what I did. But I think, in my experience, there's so many nonprofit organizations. For instance, I've seen, if I'm not mistaken, the Cornell Cooperative Extension application over the years at the Long Island Imagine Awards. I'm pretty sure
Sure.
I saw and sometimes a name tells you exactly what something does, like the nonprofit sector connector, and sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't, right.
It needs to be more storytelling. So there's so many organizations that that are doing great work and need to constantly, like, I'll give you an example. First time I ever met Renee Daniel Flagler, who was
Mm.
my friend and the executive director of Girls Inc. of Long Island.
Yes.
I go, I get it. Like, in the name, I got it. Like, I was it. And then Strong, Smart, and Bold. Got it. Right. So, like, I think sometimes we all have to create the way to tell our story, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I want to ask you too about that, but also like about educating board members on taking their why and how to tell that story. Like, that's what, not everybody's on the board for the same reason. Not to say anybody's there for a negative reason, but not everybody's there. Like, for instance, I'm on the board of Horseability. My cousin Linda passed away a number of years ago, and we have a Lindy Lou Foundation, and we support Horseability. That's how I got connected to Horseability, right? But other people got connected in different ways. So I wonder if you could share a little bit about like your experience PR. Talk about public relations, right? So let's talk a little bit about communications and maybe some of the campaigns you've done, and then we'll roll that into the organization you're at now.
Yeah, sure. In terms of communications, again, it's all getting the brand awareness. Like you said, with the name, sometimes the name of the organization says it all and people know. With Cornell, it doesn't. People, they don't know what that means. So it's all about getting the word out and whatever way that is. And I've always found, you mentioned board members. It's peer-to-peer communication is so important because you listen to those people that you're friends with. So if they're involved in an organization and they, spread it to their network, talk to their friends, to their colleagues, that's key. So that's one of the things when I talk to my boards, always encourage them, don't keep it a secret. You think it's no big deal, you go to these board meetings, it's a huge deal. And it's a huge deal to your friends. They want to know. And that's how you spread the brand awareness, spread the mission.
Yeah. Yeah, like, gang, folks will come out. So you're on the board, right? And you do I'm trying to just sound humdrum because like because I'm trying to say what I'm going to say shortly will be the opposite of that. But you buy the obligatory table and you bring your 10 guests and womp womp. And yes, that's important. But what are the next steps? How do we elevate from there, gang? Like, what do we do? So if I was to bring a bunch of my friends to an event, here's why this organization is important to me. Here's why this organization is important to my family. Not just, hey, Saturday, March 21st, I'm bought a table. I want you to come as my guest. But why I need you there, why it's valuable. Because your point, Judi, about peer-to-peer and that connection is, no kidding, Tommy D. Is that why it's important to you? Oh, you know what? I have a family member who was affected by that same fill in the blanks cause, right?
Exactly.
And that's like, and I mean, I ain't have friends for like that I've been friends with 20 years, and I don't know things that not that I should know everybody's and everybody should know myself, but I go, oh my God, that's important to you? That cause?
Right.
Why? Really? Tell me more. Like so vice versa, when we can share that and we want to support our friends, right? We might not know about XYZ organization, but I know my friend Johnny's on the board, or my friend Susie's on the board, or they're connected, or they're a volunteer there. I want to know more because it's about that relationship.
Exactly. Like you said, you never know. You don't know people's backgrounds. So when you start sharing, it may hit a note with someone and then they have the same experience.
Yeah, absolutely. What have you found that maybe something that's been like very creative or something that you were surprised about from an engagement perspective, at Cornell or at Brookhaven before that, like what, and then certainly, in your shorter time here at the museum, like something where you tried out like a marketing campaign, a strategy for donor engagement or to access new donors that was either a real surprise that it worked and like, wow, we should have thought of that a long time, or tell me about something like that.
Yeah, well, we've in the past we've had board members and other volunteers bring people to their homes
Okay.
and small groups. And it's an intimate setting. But that I was surprised. It just really going back to your storytelling, it opens people up because there's no intimidation. It's a small group of 10 friends. And I think that worked in getting people involved in the organization at the time because people got to share and they felt comfortable.
Sure.
Instead of having an event with 200 people,
Yeah.
we had smaller, intimate events with 10 people in someone's living room. And it paid off in many ways.
Yeah, that's and I do know organizations do things like that, but I'm at least in my experience, or maybe nobody invites me to those events. Maybe that's what I don't know much about. But either in my experience, everybody's like, we got to do the gala, got to do the gala, got to
Yeah.
do the event, got to do the event, right? So I want to get your feedback on that because yeah, we all do these events, and like, do we got to do the event? Like, do we really, or should we be analyzing the effectiveness of that golf outing or that
Yeah.
gala?
And you're right. There's an expectation. And, I always say events, they're great, but they're time consuming and it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of staff time. However, you get a lot of PR out of an event. You meet corporate sponsors so there's really a give and take. So you can look at it both angles. It gives a lot to do an event. You give a corporate sponsor or an individual donor an opportunity to get their name out there to speak to a room full of people. And people have fun. So you do remember those events that you were with your friends, you had a good time. When I do these events, I always try to find something that might be a little different. So, it's a golf tournament, throw something in there, or you do your annual gala, throw something in there that'll be different than everybody else's.
You have to be because I love to go to these galas because I know a lot of people in the room, and that's always fun for me. Although I do have a lot of fun when I walk in and I know no one in the room. That's even more exciting.
Oh,
That's more exciting. Um, I there needs to be something unique. There needs to be something different and exciting.
Yes.
Because I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning who runs an organization, and I was like, these events got to be fun. It has to be something different because I I personally cannot sit and listen for an hour and a half of speeches and stuff like that. Can't do it. Not because I have ADHD, because I'm bored. Because engage me, and I don't think I'm unique in that regard. I think we
Yeah, no, yeah, I think a lot of people are on that same page.
challenge me, man. Get me
Yes,
excited, not like droning on. Um,
right.
And you know what I think is cool, and I don't know why visuals pop into my head all the time. You know what I think is cool? Like the airport tables, the high top tables. Instead of sitting down at a table, let's just like schmooze and let's walk around the room. And I believe you can set, and I've been to events like it, so I know it is. You can set that up where I'm standing at a table, having my non-alcoholic beer, right? And we're talking, we're chatting, and then the presentation part comes, and we're still standing. Now I think in some cases, some folks might, depending on their needs, might need to sit or whatever the case
Sure.
is, but not where everybody has to, okay, now folks, it's time to sit at the table of 10 or the table of 12. Look, some people are going, Tommy D, you don't know what you're doing. You're out of your league. I'd say maybe you're right, but I'm telling you this, people get bored. What do you say about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's really finding that point that you can, meet everyone's needs and do something just a little different that will make your event look different than the three other events they have that month
Or that week.
or that week.
There used to be some nights I'd go to 3 events in a night, but that's a
Yeah.
That's a
Yep.
different Tommy D. He was much younger. So it's what's cool about what you have at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame is that by definition, what you do is super cool, super exciting, and
Yeah.
unique. And that to me is like a winner chicken dinner. You get to have something. I mean, it's contained in what you do. I mean, I was out there when I came for the visit, maybe it was 2.5, 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and that Billy Joel thing is so freaking cool. Like,
It's cool.
and he was there, right?
Yes.
So I got to get my wife and the kids to come out, and see the whole exhibition there because that's really cool stuff. So We'll take a break in a moment here. When we do, we'll come back and I want to, why did you leave Cornell? What happened here? Like, why did you go to this organization? What's the move? And tell me about, I know it's pretty new situation for you to be
Yes.
there. So I want to hear like what it is that you're doing, what the organization's all about, the history of the organization, and some storytelling. I mean, you probably, like I want to bring one of my daughters out there. I mean, they're all invited, but I think she'd be most interested on a Sunday. We were talking about this on Sundays. You have the concert series upstairs, and it's an intimate room. I don't know, maybe you could fit 60 people,
60. Yep.
which is great to go see a show. And there was a young lady that I might have missed. No, I think it's in February.
She's coming up in a couple weeks, I think.
In a
Yes.
couple weeks. So we'll get the name, but she's maybe she's 15, 16 years old. You can tell me that story when we come back, because I think she was there with another group, and I think you had approached her and said, do you do stuff on it? Right? There's like, all right,
Yes.
we'll
Yep.
do that story when we come back. But I want my younger daughter there because my younger daughter is a singer, and I want her to see that because, excuse me, like I was telling you when I came for the tour that day, it's all about representation. And right, it's about getting confident. My daughter performed in a musical last weekend. And I think the more and more we get that confidence boost and we see people who look like us, and, in her case, a girl who's 4 or 5 years older than her, right? That's going to inspire her to go, I can do this, man. It's one thing to see Taylor Swift, doing the Eras tour and, selling, I guess, millions of tickets. I don't even know.
Right. Right.
Hundreds of millions of tickets, lots of tickets. But it's another thing to see somebody from your neighborhood, your island, who's up there doing this thing in front of people, right? So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the organization. And really, we're going to get into what's upcoming for the organization. How can we help? What can we do? So how's that sound so far? You ready to roll again?
Ready to roll.
All right, time out. Flag on a play. We'll be right back. Break time. Judi and Tommy D.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marsanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we have abilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That is right. That's like a command. Cut through the static, join Tommy in his attic. That's like what you all are supposed to do. It was funny. That's my friend Brendan Levy, who's originally from Astoria, Queens. He's the singer from a band called The Goods, was what they used to be called back in the day when they were young men, and now they call themselves Damaged Goods. And they play a lot on Long Island, but Brendan and I wrote that song together. So we're sharing the website again, gang. It's limusichollofFame.org, limusichollofFame.org, as in Long Island Music Hall of Fame, and Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, but they left off the entertainment part in the web address. Billy Joel, My Life, A Piano Man's Journey. So that's what's going on out there at the Music Hall of Fame right now. There was a really cool bust of LL Cool J. I don't know if it's on the website, but I took a picture with that. I had a show up that I was making a visit out to the museum. So, Judi, let's get into it. Executive director of the organization. How did this even happen? How did you end up at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame?
Okay, well, I heard of an opportunity there, and I was really intrigued, having been in the education area of the nonprofits for over 20 years, to be a part of the arts sector was intriguing to me. So And then I spoke with them. That's what really got me interested. And then when I heard their mission, I just feel so strongly, and when we spoke there about music and the arts, and particularly music, how that can really impact people. And so this is like an opportunity. It's fun, and who doesn't want to have fun? And it's just a way of spreading the word. They've been there 20 years, but in this building only a few years. And it's so many volunteers that are so dedicated. So we're building the Hall of Fame, building the organization, and the opportunity to tell people about music from Long Island, all the fabulous artists, but then the impact music has on people, on people's mental health, on children, some children learn so much better if you incorporate music. And I just think that's an important message to get out there.
Yeah. And I'm looking for the write-up I did for the Long Island Imagine Award, because it's been a few weeks since we met, and there were some of the things that I wanted to pull out of that write-up. So I'm going to try and get it while working together here. But like, it's like a working show. We do work while we do the show. This is how it happens. Freestyle, man. One of the things, and we'll get into the partnership with Catholic Health, right?
Catholic Health, PSEG, Long Island, yes.
We're going to get into all that. But something you said to me, and I was trying to get to the quote, it's just about like how music brings us together. And, the
Yes.
arts certainly bring us together, but specifically music brings us together. And
It does.
Please.
The intergenerational aspect is something that I noticed when I was, first was going to the museum, and I realized, the Hall of Fame is someplace a grandparent can bring their child and they can both have a blast because there's something for everybody. And there's not that many opportunities where the age, difference really isn't a difference there, because there's something for everyone. And I thought that's nice when you see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, not to just focus on Billy Joel. However, his music is basically timeless. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids who range from 15 down to 9, and my wife and I who are in our, I hate to say late 40s. I mean, I'm 47, so like, is that late-ish? I mean, late-ish.
Latest.
And certainly, people of older years, and I'm sure there's probably some 5-year-old who digs listening to Billy Joel and stuff like that. I mean, and then you think of other groups like the Beatles and groups that are just timeless. Now the Beatles are from Liverpool, gang. It's not a Long Island accent. Just that's all.
Right.
My point about music is just it is intergenerational and
Yes.
connect on it. And I know, my own varied tastes in music, very varied, from classic rock music to I was very and still am into hip hop music. And so that's what the funny anecdote about meeting Mr. Cool J at the Benihana in Manhasset. Although I sat at the table, I didn't go over. That was Nikki that went over and said hello. But it's that music changes our mood. Like
does.
literally, if I'm not feeling, if I'm not feeling great, I can listen to the right tunes and I start to feel better. And I don't know about you, sometimes I like being melancholy, and sometimes I like to listen to music that'll kind of just mellow me out. And it's okay, because that's, emotions are emotions. It doesn't mean we have to happy is the only one that works. Like, other ones are
Right.
cool too, right? And it's like music can put you in these different moods and mindsets. And then certainly, if we're trying to get fired up for something, there's music that can get us fired up and really engaged. So, did you, growing up, was there, right now, are there certain genres of music, certain artists that were very important to you?
Well, I'm an 80s girl.
Okay.
So the 80s music, can't help myself. So,
Yeah. So I like, give me like something that you put on, you're like, oh my God, I'm rocking out again, man. Like what?
oh yeah, the B-52s, it's
Yeah.
Billy Joel, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
Gin Blossoms. That was later, but still.
Yeah, no, but that was lit. But that Jim Black, and for me, it was like, so I was born in '78, right? So I've already shared with everybody, which is not a guilty pleasure, but that Debbie Gibson was my first concert, right? I shared that with you, so that should set the stage. But I was a little too young at the time for the stuff I listen to now, like The Cure, like Depeche Mode, like, stuff like that that I
Yeah.
totally dig, but I was a little too young, like when it was happening, right? But I plug into all that music right now. I'm looking at, so I found my notes and what I wrote, and I wrote in my discussion with Judi, she brought up this: music is bonding. Music truly connects us, and there's so much to acknowledge here on Long Island when we think about the entertainers and musicians from our region. So like that was just some of the stuff that I had written up. Gang, what's he talking about? So when you're a semifinalist in the Long Island Imagine Awards, or the New York City Imagine Awards for that matter, those of us on the committee go out and get this incredible opportunity to interview the semifinalists and do a write-up. So what's the Long Island Imagine Awards? I can't tell you that right now. Go to longislandimagineawards.com and or send me an email, Tommy D at Philanthropy and Focus, PHOCUS.com, and we can talk about Imagine Awards. So you see this as a cool opportunity. You start to go out there, you're in the interview process. What stood out for you? And you said, "Oh, this is really an area of opportunity."
What stood out for me actually was when I met with the board and hearing of their expertise, their passion. This all started, I'll just tell you quickly, two of the board members both had a passion for music, and there was an email, and they just basically said, why doesn't Long Island have a Hall of Fame? Because Long Island artists always got grouped into New York City, which isn't bad, but Long Island is not New York City.
Right.
And it all started just so informally, and where it is now, they never would have imagined. So hearing their passion, and they each bring something. There's a classical music artist, there's the hip hop. It's just amazing. And their contacts, it's amazing. So when you listen to that enthusiasm, you can't help but get excited and realize there is something here. This is a fun place. This is worth it.
So you said to me, thank you. So you said to me that there was like, originally there was not a building. It was like not a place. So where
Right.
was everything? Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, there's a bus.
Okay.
So there was like a mobile museum that went around. But they were getting artifacts, the memorabilia and so forth. And then this opportunity presented itself. So this only happened in 2022. So prior to that, they were founded in 2004. So there were many years there where they did induction ceremonies, but there was no physical building. So there was outreach. We out to schools and so forth, which we still do, and we're looking to grow that program.
So talk to me about that. You're looking to grow that program. What's that program look like?
We're looking to grow programs going into schools, going into community centers, and growing the program in our building for children's concerts, doing more along those lines. We are connected to Stephen Van Zandt's Teach Rock.
Little Steven?
So and they have that program. We're partners with them. So we do programs at the Museum for Teach Rock as well. And that, just for people that don't realize, that focuses on teaching the professionals, teaching the teachers to incorporate music into all of the curriculum.
Is he from Long Island? Steve Van Zandt?
Yep, and he was with the E Street Band.
Yes, right. That's Bruce. Yeah.
Yes.
He was on Sopranos.
Yes.
So I'm moving things around on my screen because I wanted to share something on the website. We're going to extend this segment a little bit. Let's talk about Health and Harmony, and what that program is all about.
That's our program with Catholic Health, one of our sponsors who we're so proud to work with. That is a program that really stresses wellness and how music has such an impact on people's wellness. We go out and do programs. People can come into the Hall of Fame. We have playlists. You talked before about how music, affects emotions and so forth. So we offer playlists, and there's a whole website. Folks can go onto our website and be connected. Oh, there you go.
There it is. Yep. So once you go on the website, there's a big list on the right-hand side, and you can check
Yes.
it out. But if you want to just hear it, it's or I'll just say it to you, limusichallofame.org/health and harmony
Harmony.
/ but please continue.
Yeah, and so it just really focuses on the impact music has on health and how you can we have playlists for different emotions for children, how important it is as well, and helping them learn. There's many studies about that.
Yeah, and there's a cool video on here I watched the other day that talks about that program. Again, you could check that out. And then the other thing is, there's some work you do with veterans. Am I right? As it relates to health and harmony with the veteran community, or am I mistaken?
No, we do go out to different veteran sites. Yes.
Got it. I want to talk more about what's upcoming for the organization. What do you need? Are there certain relationships? And as you talk about schools, how do the schools get plugged in a little bit more? Like, who do they reach out to? Is that you that they would reach out to? Is it somebody else on the team? Like, if I wanted you to come out, if I wanted either my kids, my North Shore schools to come out to you all, or vice versa, have the team come out to us.
You call the Hall of Fame and we will make the arrangements. Absolutely.
What's the number? Where are they calling? Who do they want to talk to?
They are calling 631-689-5888.
Perfect. And you go to the website, limusichallofame.org. O-R-G. We know what .org is, gang. That's our sector in the nonprofit sector. All right, we come back. Here's what I want to do. I want you to tell me anything else you need us to know about the organization. And always, I want to know is, what do you need? What does the organization need? Who do you want to plug in with? Are there certain companies you want to shout out for the work you've done together? Certainly Catholic Health for what they're doing with you. I think you mentioned PSE&G. What was that? Let's talk about that real quick before we go.
Yeah, they're a sponsor as well, and they sponsor our music stage in our Hall of Fame. So they help our concerts.
That's what we got to talk about.
They're a great partner.
That's what we got to talk about when we come back. I want to talk about that Sunday thing, the music, and then we can shout out who's performing coming up. And I want to be out there. I believe it's like the 12th or something, but we'll check it while we go to break. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, Judi, we'll be right back.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
The Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame was founded 20 years ago by a group of passionate music enthusiasts and has evolved into a physical establishment, opening its doors in 2022 and welcoming 20,000 visitors. The hall has seen tremendous growth and is still growing. To date, the organization has inducted more than 130 musicians and music industry executives. They offer educational programs and scholarships to Long Island students and recognize music educators in the annual Educator of Note Award. Obviously, we've talked at length about the Billy Joel exhibit, so you got to get out and check that out. You're open is it every day of the week?
Closed Monday and Tuesday.
Both Monday and Tuesday. All right.
And I just have to give a shout out because you mentioned the Educator of Note, and we're actually having a ceremony tomorrow for a Rocky Point teacher, Craig Knapp. So we're proud of that.
Shout out Craig Knapp. Congratulations. I'm Tommy D. Hi, Craig. Catholic Health, PSE&G, and then the Claire Friedlander Foundation, Country Carpet, the Diodario Foundation, Hogling Group, etc. There's a bunch more on the website. If you go to sponsors, you can check out those groups. So that's important because it's all about that connection between the for-profit and nonprofit. Let's talk about what goes on Sundays, the concert series. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, every Sunday we have a concert at 3 p.m. and it can be an established band, an established individual, or up and coming. And you mentioned about your daughter, and that's actually a Cameron Quinlan, and she's I think 17. So it's just it's great for young artists it's a place for them to come out and people just on a Sunday afternoon to listen.
I love that. And I'm trying to pull up on the website. So I got the concert calendar. So you have actually, let's see. February 1st. Is that actually February 1st is tomorrow? That's the event.
And that's our educator of note.
Right. That's Craig Knapp.
Yes.
And Craig, let's just go down. When would Sunday be? The 2nd? Tribute to Queen. This is actually the whole this is not just your stuff. You have a Long Island concert calendar, not just stuff that you have. So you're talking.
Yeah, ours is on maybe another page.
Yeah, I'll find that. But you see, like, you're showing stuff at the Paramount, the Patchogue Theater, the Tillis Center. That's really cool because you're a hub for what's going on Long Island in the music world. So that's really important stuff. I'll find that, and what's the young lady's name? Cameron Quinlan.
Cameron Quinlan.
Cameron Quinlan, we're gonna come out and see you, my daughter and I, because I'm excited to just, as I say, have her. I don't think, aside from like neighborhood stuff, I haven't taken my kids to a concert yet. They haven't been to a concert.
Oh.
Yeah,
So-
they want to see Taylor Swift. Obviously, they want to see, like, I think SZA. I think my other daughter wants to see SZA. I've been to many concerts, and I'm just not sure. There's a lot that goes on at a concert, and so a concert in your place, I think, is where we start.
I think that's a good start.
It's a good entryway into seeing some live stuff for sure. But I mean,
I want to throw out there while we're talking about this, we're doing our first film festival this year. So that's something exciting in August. I think it's 8th through the 10th.
Yep.
And it's a documentary film festival. So it's our inaugural, our first time doing this. So
and do the documentaries, are they going to be connected to music? Is that
music documentaries? Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
it's our first time, so it'll be interesting to see how that rolls. So we're excited to offer that.
Call for entries deadline May 1st on Film Freeway. This is all on the website, gang. When you talk about the organization, you and the founders and the board, do you call it Limehoff? Because that's the acronym, because that's where I'm seeing it, and it even says LIMEHOF Music Documentary Film Festival. Is it kind of nickname Limehoff? Do you guys say that or no?
I think yes, that's the nickname. I haven't, because I'm the newbie. I still call it the Hall of Fame. So when I come back on in a few years, maybe I'll be saying it.
I love it. I'll have a good. Don't threaten me with a good time saying you're coming back on the show. You know I'm going to do 5,000 episodes of this here program. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, actually, our friend Vanessa Beard Streeter, who's at the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island. I was like, look, man, we got to get you on the show. She goes, I know, Tommy D, I know. And I said, I know you're busy. I said, I'm going to hit 200 episodes next month. So somewhere between 200 and 5,000. You just got to find an hour of your day to one time.
There you go.
So you got a long time to figure that out, but I'd love to have you back. And I love, for me, it's like, like seeing you last night, seeing our other friends last night in the nonprofit sector. It's critically important that we support each other for these events and things like that. So look, do I like the fact that I get hugs everywhere I go? Of course I do. So that's so I like to have more and more friends. So
there you go.
That's important. But it's all for a great cause for all these important organizations. Arts and culture is critically important for us as a society. And we sometimes I'll give you an example. From my understanding of the Long Island Imagine Awards, for years, in the beginning of the Imagine Awards, there was not an arts and culture category. There was, and the arts and cultural organizations, when they were in the same categories as other organizations, had a difficult time because when you're solving food insecurity and solving homelessness and dealing with people's health, sometimes these organizations, got moved to the side. But that's why with the Imagine Awards, I think it's important that the arts and culture category is so important, because you and I know this in our schools, in certain communities, there's less money for these types of resources, less money for these programs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why it's so important, we're looking to sponsors, to individuals, if to come and see and enjoy. And if they're able to give and to support, because I would love, I have a passion to get stuff out to communities that don't have the opportunity. Underrepresented schools, underrepresented communities. I want to grow the Hall of Fame so we can offer programs to a school district that may not be able to come otherwise. So for individuals, companies that want to help us support that, I welcome you to come and we'll chat and get some exciting stuff going.
Here's what we're going to do. You and I sort of threatened each other. We were going to get together and do this, and I think we should do it. Is have some sort of networking. I don't know this word. I'm not even sure I know what this word means. I'll Google it. But soiree, where we have a little bit of folks come through, and I'm sure I'm not blazing any trails. I'm sure you guys have utilized the space that way before. However,
but it's great,
right? But you haven't had Tommy D part of it. So I would love to bring people in my world. I'd love to. I told you this when we met in person. Love to bring the Nonprofit Resource Hub through. Gang, if you don't know Nonprofit Resource Hub, go to nonprofitresourcehub.org. And would love to do maybe, a networking event. In fact, February 10th.
Let's do it. Definitely.
Yeah, February 10th, we're doing something at the Long Island Children's Museum. Nyreke White mentioned that to me last night at the event. And it'd be really cool to do something out by you guys, because it's fun.
Yes.
Cool place.
Yeah.
It's our hometown. Strong Island, baby. What do we leave them with? Any final words you have?
I welcome people to come out and visit us and check us out, and come see the Billy Joel Museum, the Billy Joel exhibit. It is there at this point till the end of March. So come on over and come check it out.
What are you waiting for, gang? Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Uptown girl. Let's go, man. All right, check it out. This show is Philanthropy in Focus. I am the Nonprofit Sector Connector. Judi, thank you for being here. Judi,
thank you.
Latch Veeck.
You got it.
Out there, I did it very slowly and intentionally. This is your boy Tommy D. I'm signing out. I got to go do 4 more shows this afternoon. I get to go do 4 more shows this afternoon. I'm fired up. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you need me, Tommy D at philanthropyandfocus.com, or hit me up on the Instagram, TommyD.NYC, the Nonprofit Sector Connector, or Ending the Stigma Together on Instagram. This has been another In Focus production. Thanks, folks. Make it a great day. Bye now.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.